Okay, so now that we've seen how functions and inverses work and how they graph, and we can check to see if something is an inverse of another function, we're now going to learn how to find the inverse function. So here is a function, f of x equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. What I want to do is I want to find the inverse. So I'm going to go through steps to be able to figure out what the inverse is, and then we're going to graph them. So first thing that we do is we have our function here. Very first step, we're going to say that y equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. That's step number one. Step number two, we invert the x's and the y's, because remember, that's the rule of inverses, is that the x's and y's switch and they change. So the x's, y's become x's become y's. And then our last step is we solve for y. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. So we have x plus 4 equals negative 2/3 y. And then finally, we're going to multiply everything, in this case, by negative 3/2, because we want to get rid of this 2/3 here. So we're going to multiply that all the way through. So I get negative 3/2 x minus 12 over 2 equals, and then we have our negative 2/3 y. So that, of course, cancels. So we just have y. So there's our equation right there. But, of course, we're going to clean it up a little bit. We have y equals negative 3/2 x minus 6. So for our initial equation, we have our slope is negative 2/3. We have our b is equal to negative 4. So we go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we put a point there. This negative 2/3 tells me that I go down another 2. And always to the right 3. So there's our equation right there. On the second one, I have m equals negative 3/2, and I have my b value is negative 6. So I go right here. My b value being negative 6 tells me that. The 3/2 tells me I go down 2, and I go down 3, and I go over 2. So I go over to right here. So this one comes up here, and then it crosses like right about there. So not really accurate when I'm drawing it myself, but what should happen is these two functions should cross on the line y equals x. So that line right there is y equals x. They should cross there. I'll show you a little bit better drawing. So this is what the drawing looks like. Notice here is y equals x in that particular case. And so we can see what's happening with that one. And then I'm going to change this a little bit just so that I can do a dash line, make it look a little cleaner. So notice here, there is our mirror, and we can see that it's mirrored on both of those sides in that particular case. So that means, okay, on this one, we're going to look at a homework problem now and do the same thing. We're going to find the inverse and we're going to graph it. So we're going to reset this again, y equals x minus 4 over 3. I'm then going to I'm going to make my y's my x's my y's. And then last step, I'm going to solve for y. So then I have 3x equals y minus 4, because I multiply both sides by 3. And then I add 4 to both sides, so I have 3x plus 4 equals y. And of course, I'm going to rewrite that, y equals 3x plus 4. So this one I'm going to rewrite. I've got 1/3 x minus 4/3. So my m equals 1/3, my b equals negative 4/3. In this case, my m equals 3, and my b equals 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my first point in. So I have my b value is negative 4/3, so I'm going to go down 1. So I'm going to go to right here. That's about negative 4/3. The 1/3 tells me I'm going to go up 1 and over 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go right to about right here. So my first equation is going to look something like that, I think is what's going to happen. Oh, and how did I make a mistake there? No, so my b value is negative negative 4/3, and that's that value right there, which is 1 1/3, and then I go up 1/3. Okay, so for the second one, though, you'll notice that my m value, or my b value, is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's up here. And my m is 3, which tells me I need to go up 3 in this particular case. So I'm going to go ahead and go up 3 and over 1. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go over 1. Okay, so then it should come down like this really fast. And you'll notice if I were to keep this going, it'll cross right about here. And that is my y equals x value. Now, again, my graph isn't all that great, so I want to show you over here. Notice in this particular case, here are my two functions. Here are my two equations. The graph's a little bit cleaner. We can see that it goes up and it goes right over there, and how it crosses in that particular case. So this is an example of a homework assignment, and then also one of the ones from the book. We will now go to an x squared. That will take care of my next video, and you'll see something a little bit different in this particular case.